Here's an interesting article in Bloomberg.com. So Bloomberg, not exactly a forum of anti-capitalist sentiment, has this article called "Mnuchin's Tax Comments Sound Like Class Warfare." So what has been going on here is Trump has proposed to get the corporate tax rate down to 15%. Currently, it's at 35%, but really with deductions, it's more like 25%. So Trump wants to lower tax rates on pass-through entities such as limited liability companies and partnerships, which are mostly small businesses whose profits or losses pass through to the owner's tax return. I have a couple little small businesses, and one of them is an LLC, and there's the way they set it up. It should be to help small businesses, right? So all of your expenses, there's more for you to write off, and therefore, if you can write off more, then you can theoretically hire more. You make more. Your company makes more money, has less overhead, and you can hire more people. But what is going on is, and this is a big deal. Trump wants to also lower tax rates on pass-through entities, and so like I own a corporation, so the profits and losses are then passed through to my personal tax returns. That's why it's called the pass-through. So I'm just one guy. I'm not some giant corporation. And I'll read this statement according to the Harless Business Review, that this is a big deal. Half of all companies were formed as C corporations in 1985. The number is just 20% today, with the rest being pass-through entities. So if you can figure out a way to lower taxes on LLCs, S-corps, and partnerships, it could potentially have an enormous economic impact. Americans have had a long cultural love affair with small business and a collective disdain for big business, but usually end up favoring the latter at the expense of the former. Right? Okay, cool. That would actually benefit me as a small business owner, as someone so I got hired to shoot these little commercials, and I had to hire an editor and a camera guy and a sound guy, like 3 people. And so the company that hired me gave me the overall budget, and then I put it through my corporation and then paid out. So I'm not, Graham Elwood individual isn't taxed on the overall budget of the commercial. I'm just taxed on what I paid myself off of the commercial, and then paying all of the other employees. That's just an example of a pass-through, right? Okay, so we want to lower the pass-through entity rate. That's good. So then, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, you don't remember him from One West Bank, and he helped create foreclosures, mine included. Kamala Harris didn't prosecute him when she was Attorney General of the state of California. Just quick little wrap-up, little backstory. Mnuchin abruptly announced at the Delivering Alpha conference that the 15% rate might not apply to all pass-through entities. Huh? Oh, another way for Trump to stick it to the little guy. If you're an accountant firm that's clearly income, you'll be taxed at an income rate. You won't be taxed a pass-through rate. What? Mnuchin said what? If you're a business that's creating manufacturing jobs, you're going to get the benefit of that rate because that's going to be passed through to help create jobs and better wages. Wait a minute. So the accounting firm, how are they? I mean, only manufacturing can create jobs? That's complete bullshit. Right? That's complete bullshit. You can if an accounting firm gets successful, it has to hire more people. It has to hire people that do bookkeeping, whatever, office man, there's jobs to be created, that's preposterous. And it's fascinating that Bloomberg, Jared Dillian, who's the writer for Bloomberg, goes through this. And he said, first of all, the preliminary discussions about tax reform, the Republicans have been touting its simplicity, that you can fill out your taxes on a postcard and mail it in. If there's any ambiguity about what constitutes a service pass-through versus a goods pass-through, taxpayers will ruthlessly exploit it and will spawn a cottage industry of tax avoidance schemes so that business owners remain eligible for the preferred pass-through rate, of course. The Internal Revenue Service will probably spend most of its time determining which businesses have preferential treatment and which don't. Also, the idea of the Treasury Department picking winners and losers with tax rates by industry is distasteful and arbitrary. Bloomberg is saying this. So, like when within the business community, they're like, what the hell is Trump and Mnuchin doing? What are they doing? A different president with a different ideology might want to incentivize clean energy and discourage coal mining and archive it through taxation. And achieve it through taxation. Using the tax code to manipulate behavior is exactly the kind of social engineering that Republicans claim to despise. Yet they do it at every turn. Trump happens to romanticize blue-collar manufacturing work and wants to encourage it. He disdains lawyers, accountants, and hedge funders. But people that help make him rich? He doesn't like them? Mnuchin says that hedge funds will also lose the carried interest exemption, but not all private investment partnerships will if they create jobs. So there he said it. There you go. He just said it. My hedge fund buddies, they'll be able to loophole this bullshit. We'll stick it to the working class people that are small business owners. We'll definitely stick it to them. That's our job, is to stick it to them because we're Republicans. And then, oh God, it's so preposterous. Here's the final paragraph. Most reasonable people can agree that the U.S. needs to cut corporate taxes and broaden its base. Yes, corporations need to be bailed out, Bloomberg. They're so hard. It's these corporations. They're just hamstrung by having to have a moral compass. Yeah. And if you cut corporate taxes, you should find a way to cut taxes on small businesses by a corresponding amount. Cut taxes on small businesses. We create jobs. Big corporations cut taxes. It just goes into the CEO's, polo horse fund. They're not creating more jobs. Those Hampton living assholes. Mnuchin's proposal sounds a bit like thinly veiled class warfare. Thinly veiled? It's already happening. Oh, Bloomberg, I applaud you for even putting these type of words in your publication. Manufacturing comprises a smaller percentage of the economy than ever. So preferential tax treatment of manufacturing has limited economic impact. Hey, thanks, Bloomberg. If job creation were really the focus of the Trump administration, it would enact across-the-board tax cut for pass-through entities immediately. Well, thank you, Jared Dillian, for doing the best job you can as a corporate mouthpiece for a capitalist publication. I'm all for it. The lower tax rate on the pass-throughs. I'm all for it. And it just sounds like more scammy, backroom deals for Trump's rich buddies.